another day at the Old Mob Garage, and what happened is somebody gave the shop another vehicle. It's a freebie, and they always say, be careful of the free car. It might be the most expensive vehicle you ever have. Because the reason they gave it to you is that it's starting to have problems. This is a 1996 vehicle. Nice, you don't have to worry about emission controls, but from sitting so long, and people park their vehicles under trees, and that's the worst thing. First of all, when he drove it here, the first thing, brake line blew. So the brakes have to be worked on. When he went to open this up, I mean, it's been sitting so long, it just had accumulation of buds, leaves, stems. This whole area, you couldn't even open it up because it was loaded with crap. It all fell down. I mean, this is the stuff that rots out your car. So all this has to be gutted out. We'll vacuum that first, we'll blow stuff off, and we'll wash it, we'll get it into the shop, and then we'll see how rusty it is underneath. If it's got like control arms ready to rip away from the frame or whatever, then it's scrap. Just simply washing this thing is going to improve it 50%. And the reason I thought it would be great to have a Jeep is because we're in the business of making videos. When you end up making stuff like an old 1974 or a Javelin, nobody even cares about it. There's hardly any views, people hitting on it. But you do something on a truck where everybody's got one and they're wanting to repair their vehicle, they go online, see the same problem that they got, and they're going to look it up and get an idea of what they got to do before they start tearing something apart. It gets you ready for it. When you got a Jeep, thousands of people own Jeeps. And if it isn't even this model, they're basically all the same, and repairs that we do to this will probably be similar to what they got to do on their vehicles. We could cut the center out and just have a two-seater. Pretty square, eh? The styling wasn't really leading edge. But they're trying to be a utilitarian type thing. It really is easy to get in and out of. Nice back support. And you'll get interesting smells out of these vehicles when they've been sitting for a long time. Who knows? Yeah, it's like air freshener over shit. The thing is, when you go to junkyards and stuff, there's always treasures, You look in here and all of a sudden, hey, a penny from 1996. Or, a little Jeep fob. A pen. Nah, nothing cool. There's another key in here. This is a situation where you should never leave these things just hanging in here. Keep it in the... Well, it's like a weapon if you got in an accident and you got clunked in the head by a hitch. But these things always rust up. And you can't get them out. You got to grease them up and take them out every once in a while. Nothing worse than you're walking around the car and all of a sudden, BAM! And if it happens more than one time, you start getting a sore right on your shin at the same level. So I like taking them off. But we're thinking this thing could end up pulling a boat. But this one, oops, it's missing an 1/8 inch of steel. It just ties into a unitized...
It's through over here.
Really? So if we even do fix this thing up and want to use it for hauling a boat, it's nice to have something with 4-wheel drive, because when you go down a ramp and it's got a bunch of scum on it, you got to be careful slipping on it. Get it in 4-wheel drive before you even get down in there. You see some people when they try to get out, they're slipping, And then they're trying to get into four-wheel drive, and if you got to get out and lock hubs, then it's really ridiculous, you know. So a lot of times you got to take the boat off, get the thing out, and it's just a real joke if you ever go down to a loading dock for boats and it's Sunday afternoon and they're all drunk and they're trying to get a big boat out of a loading ramp, you know, and they're spinning the wheels. So hopefully we can get this to pull the boat around. Here's another situation I was telling you about when people park them underneath a tree. All this stuff gets down into the cowl. All this stuff gets down there and then it rots out all down here. But look at all this stuff. Maybe squirrels were making nests in here. But these engines from AMC, they were a really strong engine. If you ever look at them, you know, some people are really into engines. The way the crankshaft is supported with all the main journal supports on it, it makes it a very durable engine. And they usually don't make enough engine or enough power to blow themselves up. They got really low end power and they're great for going through fields at a real low gear ratio, and that's what they're doing, making it lightweight, a lot of torque, crawl through a lot of rough stuff, and we should fire it up, see what it sounds like.
So this is a 4-liter here.
Yeah.
Did Chrysler get that design from AMC and then continue producing it?
Yeah, what Chrysler, you know, they didn't want them for, basically they didn't care about Ramblers and stuff like that. They wanted to make the Jeep line because that was a profitable line, especially when it was for military purposes. And people liked them, and they didn't have any four-wheel drive that was profitable for them. So just buying the whole Jeep brand, the tooling and everything, it was a proven product. It worked, and they did a good job after they got a hold of the AMC. You know, that company was always hurting for cash, and then once Chrysler got it, you know, they make some pretty nice Jeeps now. If you get a ride in one that's got like a 5.7 liter Hemi, it's a nice ride. So we're gonna fire this thing up, and you'll get an idea of what it sounds like, and it's stone cold. It hasn't run for a while. Not idling that back. You can tell the fuel injection works really nice. If it was a carburetor, we'd be having problems with it right now. It's running smoothly. We should have done. Usually when you get a car that's been sitting a long time, you should always check the air cleaner box. Mice make nests in here. So you can see the rockers are rusted. That doesn't have anything to do with the strength of the truck. We could still fly over a jump with this because these are heavy duty. This is all fine. It's just these outer looks. A lot of guys just make these big things called rock sliders. You can put them on there. They'll look tougher. And there's a little hole going up into the floorboard by your heel. This area is the place that you got to worry about, but it's tied into this cross brace that this is supposed to lock into. This is supposed to be a strong part. I don't know why they didn't make this tie into here. But this pocket is holding up the vehicle. It still has some metal left. But you can see it's a lot of flaky rust. This is Wisconsin. And it wasn't even driven that much. It just sat. That's the worst thing for a vehicle, especially underneath a tree. It's staying wet all the time. A lot of times on a Jeep, this liner that's supposed to protect it makes it rust out because all this crap gets in here when you go riding through rivers and you get all the silt in here. And then between the liner and the gas tank, it never dries out, and the gas tank rusts out. So we're just going through this thing. Never played with anything, you know, modern stuff. And the water that's coming out of the brake fluid, it really reeks. So we got to flush that whole system. But we were just checking, the back end has positive traction, And then we were playing with this, and it's in park right now. And you'll see the drive shaft always turns, okay? So as you're driving, you're turning all this stuff. It's more drag on the drivetrain. Some people put lockers, the front hubs that can disengage, and then the wheel would just spin freely and you wouldn't be turning all this. You get better gas mileage, but I don't know if maybe some people never use their four-wheel drive and the stuff could go to crap, and then the shifter linkage wouldn't move and stuff. Can't get four-wheel drive. Maybe that was the purpose. But what do you got? A button, or is there a lever that you got to engage?
There's a lever.
Okay. And then you don't have to get out. You know, you're in the car and you just throw a four-wheel drive and then it goes. I'm not sure if, we'll check it later and see if all four wheels turn. So when you buy a Jeep and you think you're getting a 4x4, basically it's just one wheel up front, one wheel in back. You had to order it special with Quadra-Track, where you'd have a Positraction in the front and the Positraction in the back, and you lock up all four wheels so you could get out of stuff. If the car gets tweaked and you're up like this, if you just got a wheel up in the air, it's just going to spin, you're stuck. You got to have it locked to the other wheel to help you, get over a boulder or something like that. And a lot of people think they got four-wheel drive, but they really don't. First problem, and it didn't matter anyway because we got a bunch of stuff in the brake fluid, but it was leaking all over the place. The line was broken right here, cracked, and was squirting up in here. So we just broke it all the way, and then you can put a socket on here. And we're going to be a little risk takers. We're gonna just leave all the old rubber lines on there. This is actually a no-no if you're, but we don't know how much money we want to stick into this thing. So this comes out real easy. We're gonna just go to the parts store and buy a new brake line, then we're gonna flush everything out. I gotta show you the tires that they put brand new tires on this, and it's been sitting. And this is what happens with tires when they age. Look at the tread depth. I mean, these were just sitting, they split. Now, if you had this just on a farm, you could be bombing around at 25, 35 out in the fields and it would be okay. But if you took this car up to 70 and all of a sudden this tire let go and then you ran into another car, it would be stupid. You'd get a ticket for that. Still working on the freebie truck, and you find all kinds of surprises. Had to use a sledgehammer to get the rim away from the brake drums, and then it was noticed that the shock isn't even connected. I says, man, if we connect that, it might ride a lot better.
Gravity bleeding. What are you working on, Paul?
All this garbage. I just got started with a broom. It'll bring it down. I got the garbage can here, and I'll use this. This is just ridiculous. But we'll get this thing tricked out. Should be a pimp mobile. We're cruising around in the freebie Jeep, and I don't know if you can pick up on it, but the rear axle really howls. We did all kinds of stuff. We had to change brake lines because they were blown out, rusted. And then one shock wasn't even connected, and the upper devices that retain the bolts was gone, so we had to really rig some bolts going through the floor down through that bracket that holds the shock. So it doesn't ride bad. It's just that the hauling in the rear end is ridiculous. Whenever you let off, it just hauls. We didn't even get around to washing it. We just lubricated hinges and the latch mechanism for getting the hood open. Couldn't get the brake drums off in the back because they're rusted, so we got a bunch of fluid and we'd been banging on them. And vacuumed out the whole interior. After we wash it, we clean up the engine bay. Should be pretty nice. Just taking an air hose and blowing all the cobwebs and stuff out of it made it look a lot nicer. Don't you think it rides okay?
It rides pretty good. Should we try the 4-wheel drive here in a second?
Oh no, wait till we get closer. Something might go wrong. Alright, we're gonna go into 4-wheel drive, see what happens.
Slip right in.
The only way you'd know is if you went up in there.
There we go.
Oh, that's a bad U-joint. Which side? I think when you turn left. Oh yeah. That's on the front drive axle. The driver's side axle. Whoa. Well, you realize what's happening. I mean, you're supposed to be on snow. Going to low, you might snap a U-joint.
Wait, it comes right out of 4-wheel drive, pretty nice.
Yeah,
That works nice.
I've seen some guys that put it in 4-wheel drive and they couldn't get their linkage. You know, it was too rusted up and it was stuck. We had to drive in 4-wheel drive all the way back. I thought it was rear end at first when you were letting off. That might be a fight. Oh yeah, yeah.
If you go to low, we can really make it hum.
There might be something vibrating around back. There's stuff clunking around. It could be exhaust. Man, there's so much rust. It could just be rust on the drums, dragging. That's enough on this video. Sayonara.